All right, so just to be perfectly clear, um, I, as far as Gary's accusation of Quintica and Quintica thinking I'm spreading the rumor, let me just make it clear because I don't enjoy, oh, I'll just let people think whatever they want to think. I more when I was younger, very young, but so I'll just say, I think that this, if I was on the jury of this accusation, uh, we don't know who. There's so many suspects. So many people have done things like that to Gary. And the witnesses we have are witnesses that confronted Quintica allegedly, and Quintica didn't deny it. That's really weak witness testimony. And so, not guilty. That doesn't mean innocent. My comment about your video is that to if you're accused of something and you make a big point of saying, you're accused of murder and you say, well, the guy deserved to get killed. You need to be really clear, but I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Now, maybe you did say that, and it seemed like you were kind of hedging about it because you were making the main point you're making is that Gary deserves to have someone called on him. So obviously you can believe that, and it doesn't mean that you did it. And so, it's not guilty because we have no evidence that you did it. And so to me, that really counts as not guilty. That's how I would judge that. And furthermore, uh, with the Fred thing, you admitted it. I have every reason to think you would admit it if you'd done it. So if I had to guess, I'd also say, no, probably didn't do it. So that's that. You and me talking, you don't seem to understand. I'm interested in someone. Why would you support Trump? And especially someone like you that's also supported someone like Kucinich. I find that interesting. I want to talk about find out how you think about things like that so that I can know. It's not so that I can adopt your views. And if in the conversation you're going to seem to me to be paranoid, then that's the conversation being broken, right? So, um, I've come to realize that the people in the conversation are in the conversation. I'm not going to play games and promise not to watch things and things like that. But really, the conversation has to be something else other than I'm unfair and lying and I'm driving people off of YouTube and things like that because it's not happening. And it's like we have to have that's just noise. We have to have some signal about, okay, what do you think now? How do you feel about, and if I say I think you were conned, instead of getting all sad about it, you just have to understand he's telling me, Quintica, that he doesn't think that Trump was being honest. Now, not everybody will have turned out to be conned. Some people will be in on the con. Maybe you just are in on the con, or you're in this category. I've been trying to figure out exactly. You could have a category all yourself, even, but the characterizing it is, wanting to throw a wrench in the works, and then you're like, I'm not conned. I took that wrench, threw it in that running engine. Turns out it wasn't a wrench; it was a pipe. I don't care. Joke's on you. Pipe was good enough, right? Didn't need it to be a wrench. So, maybe it won't apply to you. I don't think that that should confuse you about, um, where I'm coming from, thinking he's a con man. And if you're not interested in why some people think he's a con man, then why are you talking to us? You're on some mission to. Here's the thing: anybody that does want to use a platform like YouTube to make a mass movement, then you don't. You're gonna have to play the games. You can't do the hobby you enjoy of arguing with people. You're gonna have to only talk to people that agree with you and shun the rest and create a little whirlpool of clickism. Doesn't seem like you want to do that. Uh, Maybe you do. Gary sometimes talks about wanting to do that, has done things like that, but really no, he seeks out the people he disagrees with. So we all need to do some introspection and figure out if we're the kind of people that like to talk to people that we disagree with and why. Because if you want to have a movement, you don't go to the people that like to go straight up and say, no, I disagree. You're going to have to go to the people that are like, what should I believe? And that's a good yes. And you will collect the people that already agree with you, but might not know it. You might be able to enunciate some words, and then the words come in their mind, and they go, "Yeah, that's what I think," because they were already thinking something similar to that. And I'm not saying people can't be influenced, but mostly it's like that. You know what I mean? The people didn't become the kind of people that love South Park, which is fine. South Park, I'm not picking on it, but that kind of humor, uh, they didn't start liking that kind of humor because they watched The Amazing Atheist. It's the other way around. And then The Amazing Atheist's influence is really just the ability to tell them what they want to hear. That's not influence. If he started, talking up something they didn't like, they'd turn on him, and he knows it. And we're not taking part of that. That's not who I'm talking to, you know. That's not the conversation primarily. I mean, topics can come up from there, and we do talk about it, obviously. But I think you know what I'm talking about, that you're not driving a monetized channel, and that's good. But if you're trying to have a battle and think that you're going to make a movement by getting people to admit you're right, it's just not going to happen. It's not just me. This is not going to facilitate that. This is not the kind of people we are. We have our own opinions, those of us that want to come on and say and assert it. So I don't think you would rather just talk to the people you agree with and try to make a movement. Also, you can't actually just deal with people you agree with. You have to agree with the audience. When you find out the audience is leaning this way, then you have to give up your belief and lean with them and carry that to the next level. That's why we don't want to do that, right? This group of people that primarily is still here having these kind of conversations is not doing that. And then there's this quasi group of like the Mr. Repsion types that are trying to do a sincere thing, but it's also, it's not conversational. It's like uh, promoting of a vibe and an atmosphere. And I'm not trying to do that. You are not even trying to do that, right? Or am I wrong? I mean, I don't think when you're putting your music and stuff, that's just part of the creative effort of these videos. Your videos are not designed to make a movement, and that's a good thing, I think. Um, but it seems like you're angry because of the way the conversions are. It's dishonest that I'm gonna keep thinking, looking at things my way. And also you know perfectly well why I'm taking SJW. It's like when I was a kid, people say you're weird, trying to insult you. It's like I like weird things. Salvador Dali, MC Escher, you know, that's not a word someone could use and expect me to run from it. I'm not that. Right? Being weird, I'm fine with that. You know. But they mean this terrible kind of sideshow geek kind of thing. You don't want to be that. It's like I don't think that's what it really means. But they do. But their thoughts are not really very coherent. See what I'm saying? People call me a beta cuck too in the comments now. It's not to you to say whether it applies to me. People are using it against me, and I can take and appropriate the term if that's what I think I want to do. Sometimes that's what you do is appropriate terms. You give me three words and two of them are social justice, that's fine. It's also an opportunity to point out, well, I'm not really a warrior, I'm a peace activist. I'm not going to run in fear from that term. And you know that's what's going on. And I know you are trying to say you should run from that term or else it means these things, da 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 da. And it's not a technical term. You have even admitted implicitly saying, as you said, it's meant as it's casting an aspersion on someone, right? That doesn't make it a technical term. That doesn't mean everybody that you're using this aspersion on is really the same kind of person or believes the same kind of things. It's not some technical thing that was defined well. It's an aspersion, and it has been used on me, anybody that espouses the idea of social justice, right? And, virtue signaling, like, oh, it's a microaggression, basically. So what if people signal their virtues? Why are you always whining? You know. So I think those are the kinds of things we should be arguing about. I'm not going to argue about whether me asking you if you really think saying the guy needed to be murdered was a good was if that was meant as a defense. That's what that comment was. That's not the same as me spreading a rumor about you, which I haven't done, and have said what I believe about it anyway. It's a totally cold case, unsubstantiated. Tons of, most of the suspects we don't even know who they are, right? So anyway, that's that about that. Because other than that, it's just like, look, I would like to talk to people that support Trump to find out what you're thinking and what your train of thought ends up being as he does stuff. If you can answer that honestly, I'll listen to you honestly. I want to be able to say what I think about it as well, and I will, whether you give me permission or not. I think I started again now.